Week 7 edition. I am Josh Engleman. I am joined by the boss man, Alex Baker. Alex, how are you this week?
Doing good, man. This week, it's really interesting because we're not seeing any one player really stand out as aggressively a great play like we have in previous weeks. So I think strategy will be a huge part of the contest this week. What are you making of it?
I'm slowly but surely waiting for the NFL season to end. Unfortunately, there's nothing on the horizon. We just need to get through it. I just want basketball back. I'm not going to lie. I want basketball back. I
Yeah,
miss it. I miss it already.
it's nice being able to play every day with basketball, but we got Counter Strike, we got League of Legends. It's not over.
That's fair. That's fair. All right. As everybody gets in the door, don't be afraid. Hit that like button. That is old school as far as I'm concerned. We're going to get the likes no matter what. I know that that's the case. Hit the subscribe button. We want you to subscribe to the channel. That is the new most important thing for us. So we would like to see you do it. Hit the notification bell so you know when we go live. We have a ton of content every single day. We're like a TV station at this point, but if TV in 2020, where nobody cares about TV in particular. We've already had 2 shows today. Ben and Julian had the betting show. Jason Floyd and Adam Scher had the MLB strategy show just before us. We've got 2 more shows coming up after us. One at noon with Matt Kajeski and Kyle Dvorchak doing fantasy football start sit for this Sunday, and then MLB live before lock later tonight. I have one
Yeah.
question for. I don't have too much review stuff for today, and I made some changes for what we're going to do. Well, we're going to do the same thing we normally do. We're going to build some lineups, but we're going to get there a little bit differently. But I have one question for you. I was looking at Showdown for last night, and first thing I did was pull up your exposures. You were quite heavy on defense last night in the captain spot. 38% Giants captain, 33% Eagles captain. Is there something specific you were seeing for 70% defense captains last night?
Well, that was all of the pricing. Like one way you can make a unique lineup is you could take take some salary off the board and use 47K off 50K. The other way was you pick a captain that other people don't have. Defense has been really stinking this year at captain, so I just figured public would be off it. And from a salary perspective, I thought they were the most likely of all the 4 to 5K or under plays to be the highest scoring, and I was banking on that being enough a significant part of the time.
I liked it. It immediately stood out, and I was like, okay, this is something that I'm going to need to look at a little bit further because that is so big of a stand that I know that I need. I mean, when I post my showdown videos and I have ever mentioned the possibility of playing a defense in the captain spot, I am not met with a lot of confidence in the comments. A lot of, oh, defenses only win the showdown whatever percent of the time. That's a terrible. It's like, look, I'm not. I agree that this is probably like a 5% outcome, but if the public is at 1%, that's appealing. It's all relative, folks. But yeah, well, I saw that, and I was very curious if you had anything specific that was leading you to defense last night. You took down like a dual kicker showdown last year, didn't you, for something pretty big?
A couple of years ago, I think. But yeah, I didn't chat them anyways because no one likes the kickers that time. I did like Graham Gano last night, not as much a captain because kicker, uh, they don't have as much variance as defense because they can't get the touchdowns. But that is another position that people tend to underutilize.
Yeah, I've been relatively heavy at kicker, at the very least at utility. I did have quite a bit of Gano / Elliott last night. Watching Elliott miss a 28-yard field goal was not ideal. I was ready to lose my mind early last night. Ultimately, didn't matter for me one way or the other, so I'll take it. Just a not fun game. I watched the first half, and at that point, I was more than happy to go to bed.
Yeah, I mean there were some good plays at the end of the game, but not exciting teams for the most part.
I went to the box store and started scrolling through because, I go to bed and I wake up having no idea whether or not I made money or how the slate went. And I start scrolling and I was like, oh, okay, Wayne Gallman touchdown. Definitely didn't go well for me there. And then I got my troll TDs of Boston Scott, and I can't remember who scored the other late touchdown. Boston Scott and Greg Ward. Needed both of them, so I was very happy that those things happened. I could have really used that Daniel Jones rushing touchdown, but apparently he just tripped over the paint on the field. Tough one. Tough one.
Dude, that was wild. Yeah, I think we're going to be seeing that highlight for a long time.
Oh, just so embarrassing. So embarrassing. To be, he is a elite level athlete. Like, even as a quarterback, not necessarily like the biggest athlete on the field, but in the grand scheme of things, the guy that should be able to run in a straight line without falling over didn't get there last night.
No, he did not.
Not ideal. Not ideal. Okay, I'm going to hit on free content for today, and then I'm going to announce what we're doing for the rest of this show. Free content. NFL Lineup Builder. You guys have seen us use the Lineup Builder each week on this show, weeks 1 through 6. Good news for you, if you want to use that tool today, it is free. Can't beat it. Head to Awesemo.com, go to the Lineup Builder, and you can build lineups along with us. MLB projections are free today. Game 3 of the World Series kicking off later tonight. So you can get the goods from the boss man for projections for that. And MMA projections, we have been filling out a lot more MMA content as of late. MMA Pro Plays made their debut last weekend, already updated for this week. It's the picks from me, Alex, Steve, Jason Floyd, Pete the Heat Rogers. I feel like I'm missing somebody, but and Mark Stein too as well. So we've got everybody's picks. They're all in one table. You can see where everybody is leaning. I think it's a great tool. You guys should go check that out. But MMA projections free today if you're getting ready for Khabib and Justin Gaethje tomorrow. Now it's time. So we used this tool a little bit during the NBA 2K Sims. We're going to bring it back here right now. I have the wheel on the screen. FanDuel GPP, DraftKings GPP, FanDuel Cash, and DraftKings Cash. We are going to spin the wheel, and that will determine the type of lineup that we are going to build today. And I assume we'll have enough time. It'll pull out whatever we did. We'll spin this bad boy again, and we'll do a third one, or a second one.
Awesome. I like it.
Instead of me trying to remember what we did the week before, ultimately forgetting and having you remind me, we're bringing back the wheel. Had to happen. So we are about to spin the wheel. The type of lineup that we will be building is DraftKings GPP wins. We are building a GPP lineup. Time to dive in. I have got our lineup builder pulled up already. Again, this is free for today. You guys can come and use this tool right now along with us. Gonna sort DraftKings, gonna pick the main slate, gonna hop on over to Awesemo.com, go to Alex's big board so we can get all the rankings in front of us. It's gonna be a good one, boss. Oh, get Top Stacks tool, I assume, is updated as well.
Yep.
Perfect. Top Stacks, open, big board. Open. Now it's time. So as I look at the NFL Top Stacks tool, this is the DraftKings page. 2 highest probabilities of being the top stack. The Arizona Cardinals at 10.7%, which are still on the main slate, correct? That's the one that moved and it's not going anywhere for us.
Yeah. They have an extra game now. I gotta go back and add that in.
For right now, this will serve its purpose. Kansas City over Denver, both of those stacks showing up as better top stacks than the QB ownership percentage. Seattle on the opposite side of that, even better. I see a lot of really nice potential value spots at the top. Is there something that stands out most to you for this week as we try to build a GPP lineup?
Well, I noticed right off the bat that this week you got a lot of good options. So I mean, Seattle versus Arizona, that game could have huge fireworks. But then you look at the QB salary, 8K for Russell Wilson. I mean, that's top dollar. That's like as much as like a stud flex player. So that makes it really tough to go there. I always find there's a lot of advantage in spending down at QB, but man, like you go down the list and it's like maybe Joe Burrow, but the top stack percentage is so low. So I guess I maybe should it, I guess Teddy Bridgewater could be my top one based on this tool right now because the ownership's not super high, the salary is low, and the top stack percentage is pretty good.
Yeah, top stack odds of, let's just say, 8%. QB ownership 4. So right out of the gate looks great. Teddy Two Gloves is 5,800. So we're not worried about price all that much. And I don't know about you, but there are certainly options on the Saints side that work for a run back.
Yeah. Michael Thomas just got ruled out, so we might have another Kamara week.
There we go. So
All right, sorry, I might misreported that. He there was someone that was saying he's unlikely to play.
Let's go ahead and put Teddy Two Gloves in. And just from what I'm seeing, we have two main options, either Robbie Anderson or DJ Moore. But the first question I want to ask you is more of a general construction theory. What are your thoughts on using Mike Davis with Teddy Bridgewater? Davis, obviously, generally speaking, heavily involved in the pass game, maybe not so much in week 6, but you expect him to get at least some work in the passing game. Do you have any thoughts as to using Mike Davis in the running back spot as a stack with Bridgewater?
Well, my general rule of thumb is that those players, like Mike Davis, who maybe gets 30 to 40 yards of receiving a game, they're like fine to pair with the quarterback, and a lot of times I'll have a running back with quarterback because you're really hoping that team just puts up a ton of points. But I think that uh, you're better off with the receivers that you're not paying for a lot of the rushing production. So Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore definitely would be my top options to stack with Bridgewater.
Okay. Do you like them both in this scenario, or are we looking to grab one of the two? They're similarly owned. They're relatively similarly projected relative to salary. They're only separated by $400. Are you trying to pick between them, or do we want to go and grab them both and make a pretty heavy game stack?
I like getting them both. Yeah, I think that versus the Saints, like given that this game is the one to pick, you're gonna need a ton of production. I don't even mind like not picking any Saints player
Okay.
because with Carolina being pretty big dogs in this game, like if the Saints just go out there and have an average day, Carolina still projects to pass a good amount. So I think that uh, maybe if we get both Anderson and Moore, then we run it back with maybe Manny Sanders or Kamara. Kamara is going to be a top play now that Michael Thomas has ruled out. So that would probably be the chalk build.
Okay. Do we let the wheel decide if we go Anderson and Moore?
I mean, that doesn't sound like a bad idea.
Okay. Well, I'm going to duplicate the wheel. We'll let the wheel decide. I'm going to put 3 options in there. One is Anderson solo. One is Moore solo. Third option is both.
All right, awesome.
So, wheel on the screen, and the spin is on.
This is clearly how you can build the best lineups is by randomizing.
Yeah, absolutely. And the wheel decides we should go for both. I like it in this particular case for what we're doing, just because of how close Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore are. You have them separated by 2 points. Anderson slightly more expensive, similar ownership. There's not a lot to differentiate those two in an individual Panther stack, at least to me. So I like the idea of bringing the wheel in, making it a little bit more fun. Because now that we have our base, which is now Bridgewater, Anderson, Moore, I think that allows us to make a better plan moving forward. So now we do have this 3-man Panthers stack. Who do you want to bring back with the Saints?
Well, I think that Kamara at 7,900. Like if we are projecting Bridgewater to go out and throw 3-4 touchdowns, you got to think Kamara will be heavily involved. So I think that Kamara makes a really nice run back. But that being said, Emmanuel Sanders will be a lot lower owned, and with Michael Thomas out, he's been targeted a decent amount.
Alrighty, Kamara it is. So we've got 4 guys in now: Bridgewater, Kamara, Anderson, and Moore. We've got 24,700 remaining, 49.40 per spot. So probably a little north of 5K, considering one of them will be a defense.
Yeah, that's
it's not a lot of money.
No, yeah, we paid up for a couple of stud players, so we're gonna have to dig for some value plays.
First value play that I see is running back, 5K, Antonio Gibson. He ranks 11th on your big board. That's the cheapest of anybody in the top 15. Is that a direction you want to go? Next cheapest guy I see is 4,100 for Valdez Scantling, 4,900 for Justin Jackson. Any obvious spots that we could save some money?
Yeah, I like Antonio Gibson. Like they got a great matchup versus Dallas, who on the defensive side has been pretty miserable. So I think that Antonio Gibson at 5K, that seems like a price that's kind of like, how did they come up with that? It seems way too low.
Let's get Gibson in there for the football team. All right, so now we've got 19.7 for a wide receiver, a tight end, and a flex. Let's just see what tight end looks like this week. Because last week was kind of rough. And this week, got Kelsey and Waller as your 2 top options. And then Hunter Henry, 4,500. He ranks 23rd overall on your big board. Chargers get a date with Jacksonville, a team that is less than stellar. Is Hunter Henry just the guy that we should go to here?
Yeah, I mean, 4,500, that's solid. I think Darren Waller, he's been pretty good, but his price is up to 6,100, so we don't have the money for him or Kelsey. Or Kittle, really, 6,500. So, yeah, like Hunter Henry.
Perfect. So now we need a wide out, flex, and defense, and we've got 15,000 to do it. 15.2 if we're going to be very specific. It's getting a little bit better. We're going to have enough to fill out wide receiver and flex, and it's not all that bad because defense is clearly not going to be all that expensive. Anything you want to get out of the way right out of the gate? Wide receiver and flex.
Well, if we want a really big value play, some of my favorites have been these Patriots receivers. Damian Bird is 3,800, so he stands out as maybe a dirt cheap play. Just kind of going through the list of games here. So MVS 4,100. That seems like a huge misprice because, I mean, Packers passing has been really good, and the Texans defense is really, really bad. So if I think he'd be a really solid play.
I like it. Guide in here. Valdez Scantling in. That leaves us flex and defense 11,100. We could pretty much play anybody at flex. Do we want to just lock in our defense so that we know where we're going?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Going to your big board, sorting by defense. Probably want to save some salary if we can, but we don't have to worry about it too much. Number 1 ranked defense for you this week is the Cowboys, but we already have Antonio Gibson, so probably not going to be going that direction. Next up, the Cleveland Browns against Cincinnati, 2,800. We could also go to someone like Washington, which would be fine against Dallas. The Eagles obviously already played. Are you fine with going with the Browns, or are you looking a little bit further down, something like the Lions at 2,200?
Oh yeah, the Browns versus Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow will be pretty popular this week, so you can get some leverage just based on how the pricing is set up.
Lock them in. Browns D. That leaves us 8,300 for the flex spot. That's more than I was expecting when we first started this.
Yeah, I mean we can get pretty much anyone then.
Yeah, and we'll have the ability to make some upgrades if we really need to.
Well, Devontae Adams, I mean, he busted pretty hard. We do have MVS, so I wouldn't put him in this lineup because you might want Aaron Rodgers at QB in that case. Um, he's really the only guy that fits in that price range, though. So we might have to make some tweaks.
Yeah, I think we're going to be able to upgrade pretty easily here. And depending on the wide receiver we take, I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility that we can spend up a little bit higher than Hunter Henry. Just looking at it, 7K for Diggs, he's 7th. That would give us an extra $1,300 to upgrade off of Henry or Valdez-Scantling. He seems like the best combination of price and ranking for you.
Yeah, I think Diggs. Let's see. He went out and had an average week, so maybe the ownership won't be quite as high as it would otherwise. But overall, the season really strong so far. They are facing the Jets, so you got to worry about the passing volume, but also the Jets are terrible. So as a one-off, I think he's pretty solid.
So I put him in. Our value ranking is greater than 90%. Contrarian ranking 50 to 60. So it's already pretty nice. And
that's solid, yeah.
And we have $1,300 left. Now, I don't believe this is a scenario where we need to leave $1,300 on the table. So we have more than a few options. We can get to any wide receiver 5,400 or below. We can get to any tight end 5,800 or below. But 5,400 would be the wideout cutoff to replace Valdez-Scantling. In terms of Fulgham already played, so we don't really have a wide receiver that we can upgrade, actually.
Well, I mean, the big board ranking takes into account salaries, so we can find a 5K player that's a little bit higher projected than MVS.
Okay.
So we got 5,400. Scrolling through the list, Boyd and T. Higgins. I mean, that's just overpriced. We got the defense anyway. Brandon Cooks. I mean, 5,200 seems like a lot. One option, we could go to Manny Sanders, and that kind of fits into our game stack. So I think that would be a good option.
Sanders, let's do it. We look like after we do that. So let's take out MVS. Grab Manny Sanders. Are we okay with that onslaught?
Well, I think I think it's fine. Like we have advantage here because Michael Thomas is out. So the Saints offense will be a little bit more concentrated, and we're playing for this game to be a blowout because we got the two wide receivers, or sorry, not blowout,
shootout.
A shootout. So I think that having Kamara and Sanders, who can both get it done receiving, that should be pretty solid.
$100 remaining. Value ranking greater than 90%. Contrarian ranking 60 to 70. I think we just built a gem for DraftKings GPP.
Just one comment real quick. Like, obviously you gotta get the most updated ownership. I need to update this as soon as the show's over, but Kamara and Sanders should get higher ownership now that Thomas is out.
Okay.
So obviously, like it's tougher building lineups on Friday.
Yeah.
But this one's solid.
Yeah, worst case scenario, even with Kamara and Sanders picking up additional ownership, that contrarian ranking isn't going to go from 60, 70 to 0. 30, 40 at best. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah. That's for sure.
Pretty nice lineup. I mean, that's what you're trying to do. For those of you that are looking at our lineup builder for the first time. Again, it's free for today. The shorthand, the quick look at it. If you're trying to build a GPP lineup, your goal is to have both of these numbers add up to over 100. That is a quick, back of the napkin, quick look, and clearly these numbers add up to significantly more than 100. I like it a lot. It's a good lineup for a GPP.
Yeah, I think it's really solid.
Right about the midway point, so I would be remiss if I didn't tell you about a little bit of an active promo that we have. This one's up my alley. Champions League. And this ends today, I believe, the 23rd. If you use the promo code Champions League, one big word, so no space in between Champions and League, you can get our Awesemo Plus weekly soccer pass. $2. You cannot beat that. That's less than 30 cents a day. If you want to check out what we have to offer for our soccer product, use that promo code Champions League, one big word. Get our Awesemo Soccer Pass for $2 for the week. And even better, we've got a giveaway for Game 3 of the World Series. Go check out the pinned tweet at Awesemo_com. You need to predict how many strikeouts Walker Buehler will have tonight. There will be instructions in that pinned tweet. You're going to have to respond to the tweet and like it and follow Awesemo MLB and Awesemo_com. We will randomly select a winner of everybody that gets it right. You win. What can you win? Ooh, incredible. A year of Awesemo Plus MLB. That is an incredible value. You'll get it for 365 days. Another full year, Awesemo Plus MLB. That value is awesome, and all you have to do is just respond to a tweet. That's easy. No work on your end. You're going to be watching that baseball game anyway. You have access to Alex's projections for today as well. You can get a little bit of a baseline, try to figure out where you need to go. So go to Awesemo_com. That is our Twitter account. And join our giveaway. I'm excited. Do you know why?
Is it because of the World Series?
No, it's because the wheel is about to decide our next lineup build.
Oh, nice. All right. I'm also gonna run an ownership update here, so hopefully we can get that in 10 minutes here.
Okay. Yep. We can go back. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna grab a screenshot of the lineup we built. Maybe we can go back and build that again on the ownership update. See if there's any changes to it. But for now, it is time to let the wheel decide what will be the second lineup that we build today.
I like it.
Actually, that was supposed to remove one of these things, but if it lands on DraftKings GPP, we're just not going to do it. Perfect. That worked out perfectly. FanDuel Cash coming up on this one. That's the perfect spread.
I think the wheel is just picking what we would have picked anyway. It was meant to be.
Probably. Make sure you guys get your FanDuel Cash lineups in. They will be paying out probably by Friday of the following week. I'm going to switch over to the FanDuel big board. Switch over to FanDuel projections. And first and foremost, wow. One, Devontae Adams is expensive, but he is your number one play of the day. But we're going to need to look at a little bit at ownership too. So let me pull that up as well. You can get to all these links through awesemo.com. Is there a natural first spot you want to go to in a FanDuel Cash lineup?
Well, FanDuel Cash. So I'd probably go to maybe a mid-range guy that we can kind of fit in any lineup. So let's see, Jerick McKinnon without Raheem Mostert. He got a really big workload, pretty game script proof because New England is he gets it done in receiving and rushing. So he's an interesting option that I think he's just a little bit mispriced.
Yeah, I'm on the same page there. He is picking up some ownership as well. Good value option, makes things work. I see no reason to go a different direction. Jerick McKinnon, first man in, FanDuel Cash. I'm trying to look through now, see who else stands out. And your number 2 guy on the FanDuel big board, Kareem Hunt, 7,100 matchup against Cincinnati. Is that a direction you want to go? How are you feeling about Kareem Hunt?
Yeah, I mean, you got to love the matchup. And there's no Nick Chubb. Hunt's been getting a really big workload, so I think Hunt's really solid.
Excellent. 2 men in. The floor is yours. What do you like for FanDuel cash this week?
So Devontae Adams, like I'm looking at this game. Green Bay is only a 4-point favorite over Houston. Like, how is that even possible? Given how Houston has played, Houston seems to be the team that the money loves, but they've just been absolutely doing terribly. But that being said, if this line is remotely accurate, it should get even more accurate throughout the week. Devontae Adams really stands out as being from the team with the highest team total on the slate, and also a spread that's not too crazy.
Really good this week. That one's gonna sting when he busts.
Oh, the funny thing is, like, well, this is cash, so it doesn't really matter too much, but people might be hesitant to go back to the well on Green Bay, given they absolutely put up a stinker on Sunday last week.
Do you care at all about having Aaron Rodgers with him?
In cash, like, I think if Aaron Rodgers was some really amazing play this week on FanDuel, no problem at all. But he is 8,100. It does look like he is the highest rated QB. The general rule is so if you have the stack, that increases the variance of your lineup, and that diminishes the advantage you have over other people in projection by a little bit, but not a lot. So if we feel like Aaron Rodgers is by far the best play, and it looks like he is because he's higher ranked and the other guys are more expensive, so I would put Aaron Rodgers in here.
Okay. We have 6K, a little over 6K remaining, 6,100 per player, 2 wideouts, a tight end, flex, and defense. We're going to need some value somewhere. That much I can tell you.
Okay.
Filtering down just to wide receiver to see if there's any obvious value spots that we can go to. One of them would have been Valdez-Scantling. I don't think we're going to be going that particular direction right now. $6,400 Robbie Anderson is your number 4 on your big board for FanDuel. Doesn't really have much of a tie to anything in our lineup currently. That seems to be like a decent play.
Yeah, I think Robbie Anderson. I have no idea how he's still cheap because he's been having a phenomenal season. So I mean, it's hard not to just slam him in cash.
4 spots, $6K a spot, $24,000 remaining. Obviously, defense still one of them. So we need a wideout, a tight end, and a flex. We're hitting every spot. Is there an obvious tight end cash option for this week?
Doesn't
look like it.
It's going to be hard to pick an obvious tight end this week because you got Kelsey, Kittle, and Waller all on the slate.
Yeah.
But you said we need someone cheap, so Hunter Henry fits the bill for that, or Darren Waller is a little bit of a cheaper option than Kittle, but let's see. San Francisco is projected for 21 points. Vegas is projected for 25. So maybe the edge goes to Waller.
And Darren on the slate.
What's up? They moved that game off the slate. That's right. My bad. So that was going to be the 4 p.m. game, and now it's. Oh, sorry. Wait. No,
I think it's the opposite.
Yeah, it was going to be the night game, but it's not anymore.
Right.
So there's a possibility they add it to the slate, but it's not on there right now.
Sorry, Darren Waller.
My bad. Let's. Maybe we just put in Henry then.
Okay. It's possible we end up with enough money to be able to upgrade off of him too. So Wideout and flex plus a defense just north of 6K per spot remaining. Do you have a preference for the flex on FanDuel? Do you generally lean more running back wideout, or is it all fully just ended?
I think running back is generally a little safer than wide receiver because they get touchdowns more frequently. And on FanDuel, they weight that a lot heavier. So going with a running back makes sense. There are like a lot of different options here, so it might be hard to pick one.
This be another spot for Antonio Gibson, somebody we had in our GPP lineup on DraftKings.
Yeah, I think he's solid. Matchup versus Dallas, you gotta love. So he'd be someone I feel pretty confident in cash.
Okay, so we need a defense and a wideout. We have 12.5 left. So we might have enough money to upgrade off of Hunter Henry and get a wideout in there. My guess is that we should lock down our defense first. Let that ship sail. Nice. Cowboys at the top, not going to be using. Eagles are second on your big board. Obviously, they played yesterday. And we know how much you liked Eagles defense yesterday.
Well, why are we glossing over Cowboys defense? I mean, this is cash, right? And
you don't mind having Antonio Gibson on the opposite side of that?
No, because in cash, I mean, like if these two should be negatively correlated, which isn't really a disadvantage in cash. So 3,700 is real cheap. And Kyle Allen, he's thrown a pick or two in his day. Sure. So I think there's definitely a lot of potential, even though Dallas's defense kind of stinks.
I like it. Which gives us $8,800 to spend on a wideout. That's not too shabby.
Nice.
I mean, that's anybody that we want except for DeAndre Hopkins at 9K. And I don't think that's who we were going to. So the floor is yours.
So we got 8,900?
8,900. 8,800, sorry.
So it might be tough to really pick the perfect player. So we might have to make some swaps.
I think Hunter Henry would be the natural one if we wanted to go up to Kelsey or Kittle.
Yeah, I think if we go to
probably Kittle.
Let's see. The matchup for Kittle is a lot harder, so I might spend all the way up to Kelsey. But there's a significant price difference there.
Drop Kelsey and see if we go to Kelsey, that's 6,700 for the wideout spot. That's not fine, or that's not bad at all.
That should give us a lot of options, yeah.
$6,600 DJ Moore for the Robbie Anderson DJ Moore stack again. We can go that direction.
I think that's the direction I feel confident in because there's really not any correlation between wide receivers on the same team. The correlation is with the quarterback in each one. So it actually almost helps a little bit because when one of them is not getting targeted, the other is.
Aaron Rodgers, Jerick McKinnon, Kareem Hunt, Devontae Adams, Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, Travis Kelsey, Antonio Gibson, Cowboys defense. That leaves us $100. Value ranking, greater than 90%. Contrarian ranking, 20 to 30%. Now, this could look a little bit different on an update of ownership. I'm curious, is that a problem to you for a cash game?
No, I mean, we're really just looking at the overall projection, really. So 142, that's pretty solid. Looking back at it, it looks like Kamara, he's like super expensive on FanDuel, but he stands out as kind of like the safest running back option. So if we like tweaked, maybe we'd try out some lineups with him as a spend up instead of some of the other guys.
What happened? If I go back to Hunter Henry, take out Kareem Hunt, that leaves us enough money to go to Alvin Kamara, 9,300 on the dot. But in this case, and I think this would change, still greater than 90% value ranking, 50 to 60% contrarian, only 140.5 in the fantasy point. So seems like we made it that would be a step backwards for us in this particular lineup.
Okay. Well, that feels good because Kamara is a scary fade in cash.
Yeah. I don't really know where else we would be able to get him in if we wanted to. Trying to see if any spot immediately stands out. We're spending so much on Adams, Rodgers, and Kamara, and I mean Kelsey in this case, but Kelsey would go away otherwise. It's hard to build a cash lineup with Rodgers, Kamara, and Devontae Adams. You're going to be taking a lot of steps back at every other position.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, right now I think we did a pretty good job.
I agree. Chat. We do a good job. If we did, reward us by hitting that like button. 330 concurrent viewers in here, only 89 likes. That's not enough. Let's go ahead and bump that number north of 100 and subscribe to the channel while you get a chance. That helps us out a ton. Love when you guys subscribe to the channel. Anything else I need to touch on? Covered the shows, covered the free content, covered the promo, covered the giveaway. Hitting everything.
I think we could bully people for some more likes.
That's fine by me. You know I like to do it. Guys, hit that thumbs up. We got to get that north of 100, man.
Well, if you don't hit that thumbs up, you know, you're not even going to cash this week. It's going to be a really sad week 7. So make sure to hit that thumbs up so you get some good luck on your side.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and go to YouTube on my phone. I would like to cash this week. Mute us quickly. Close. Thumbs up. All right, now we go. I can cash this week. We're fine.
Okay. Good move. You know, like it would have been a bad week otherwise.
I'm holding you to this. And if I don't cash, I expect to get that on a paycheck on the way back. It's like is this like a free roll for me right now? If we don't cash, you can cover this?
Yeah, I think that's how it works.
Alex Fleming says, do some FanDuel crunches. Want to look through any crunches? Is there anything we could do there that would be appealing?
Sure, yeah. We can run maybe a GPP crunch because we did the cash lineup already.
All right, so I'm going to pull up Fantasy Cruncher for FanDuel. Good shout out, Alex Fleming. So we got about, 10 minutes or so before we get out of here. Looks like I'm not logged in, even though I'm logged in. Or maybe I am logged in. Who knows? Try this again. NFL. Fantasy Cruncher. FanDuel. All right, we're good. So I'm going to sort down to the 11-game slate. If you were going to do, what is the first thing that you would want to do opening up FanDuel or opening up Fantasy Cruncher to this FanDuel slate?
Well, I would click advanced options and set uniques, randomness, and stacking.
Okay. I'm going to take a stab at what you want to set these things to. You let me know if I'm close enough. I'm going to move uniques to 3. So far, so good?
Yep. 3 is just enough so that you don't beat yourself.
I'm going to set randomness. Now, keep in mind, this is old randomness. Prefer me to use old or new?
Let's use the classic randomness because a lot of folks out there probably use that.
Fantastic. And I don't have FC Pro on my Awesemo FC account, so I was going to switch the screen either way. I'm guessing this one will be relatively low, something because the extremes of old randomness much bigger than the extremes of new randomness.
I would say like between 25 and 30 is a solid baseline.
27.5 it is.
All right, that works.
That feels that's a pretty big number. Any reasoning for that?
Well, it just like gives us a little bit more options when we look at our lineups, and of course, we're not going to play every single lineup we generate, so it will just give us more diversity in what we're looking at.
Alrighty, 3 uniques, 27.5% randomness. Is there anything else you want to set? Position stacks in particular?
Well, let's set a position stack. So, uh, let's require at least one wide receiver or tight end with our quarterback.
Done.
And then, man, the game stacks have been absolutely crushing this season. So I don't mind also just setting the game stack, require a running back, wide receiver, tight end from the opposing team.
Done. Stack rules, 3 uniques, 27.5 point randomness. I think we're good. Is there anything else that you want to set?
I think we're good to start crunching here.
Perfect. So 500 should move quickly.
Nice.
Oh yeah, that's moving real quick. I like the just general exposures on the left-hand side. First lineup popping up: Mahomes, Kelsey, bringing back Jerry Jeudy.
Nice.
That's a winner. That's a winner. Okay, so we've got a crunch going now. We're almost at 300 lineups. 500 should fill themselves out pretty quickly. Once this hits 500, what is the first thing that you want to do? What's your next step after generating these 500 lineups?
So what I'm looking for in the one wide receiver tight end stack is like that absolute stud. So like this one with Kelsey, and then the next one has Diggs, Devontae Adams with Rodgers. Like those are really the one person stacks. And sometimes Fantasy Cruncher will give you like Rodgers and Marquez Valdez-Scantling. That is a lot narrower of a path to victory. If I had MVS, I'd like to stack with 2 guys instead of 1.
Okay.
So that's just one criteria I have in the back of my head. But what I would do first is sort by projection and delete the bottom projected lineups in the crunch, because I think that that will make sure that the randomness doesn't hurt us.
So if I sort by projected, actually, I need to rerun this. I did not crunch using Awesemo projections.
I think it's the same thing right now. Like
unless,
like if you upload your own projections, it will use those. But
either way, we're running it again. You know, it's quick. 500 lineups, 27.5% randomness. It moves quickly.
Yeah. So like what you could do if you're using this is you can crunch with my projections, and then you can tweak some of the projections also, and you can see both numbers, like your own projections and my projections.
That's a really good idea. You definitely, there's never a problem with having more data. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Just about up to 500 now. Chat, did you guys get up and over 100 likes? 136. Look at you guys. Nice. Fantastic work.
Bullies always win, man.
So true. So true. The moral of every story. All right. So now I'm sorting by projection. Is there a general cutoff you would be looking for to delete these?
So the safe cutoff is 10 points within the highest projected lineup in your crunch.
Okay.
So if we're just setting a rule that's really hard, like cutoff, we got the 139 as the top one, so 129 or less I would delete.
So here's my next question for you. This might be advanced stats for Fantasy Cruncher. Would you want to simply run your optimal, find out that in this case it's 139.22, and then set an advanced option in the My Data tab to have a minimum of 129 points?
So I think you can do that, but one of the things I would be doing is like based on the correlations you set in your lineup, the cutoff might be different. So you'd want to figure out a different cutoff for each one, because the more you correlate, the less projection you need.
Okay. If I want to get rid of everything below 129 or below, right. All right, that one makes the cut. So I'm going to unselect lineups above, and I'm going to delete the 62 lineups that are below that 10% or 10-point cutoff.
Nice.
Now we have 438 lineups left.
That's solid.
Select
So,
all. Okay. Exposures look good too. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah, it's solid. I think the next step is a little bit tricky, I guess, where we have 438 lineups, but we're only looking for a small fraction of those lineups potentially.
Right.
So maybe I would sort bottom to lowest and projected owner. Oh, we don't have the ownership on here, so that makes it a little tougher. But maybe
we have ownership. It's just not the most updated ownership.
Well, this is the basic fantasy cruncher, so we don't have the ownership built in, right?
Oh, it's here.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah, it's
so
always,
we can.
It's always included.
Okay.
No matter what.
So if we click that gear, we should be able to add ownership. Or I think if you just sort by ownership,
it'll pop on. Yeah.
It will. Yeah, we'll add.
Remove the eye projection from it so that I don't have too much stuff on the screen.
Nice.
And then we can go ahead and sort by ownership.
I did just update the ownership here, so we got a fresh set of data. It looks like it.
What did you want to do with the ownership, by the way?
Sort by lowest to highest, just because if we find something that's low owned and high projected, that's kind of that sweet spot.
Okay. So I am now sorting. These are the low owned lineups. With this is now sorted. So do you want me deleting anything, or are these just the lineups we kind of want to look in this order?
Yeah, we're just looking because we're not MMEing or anything. We're just trying to figure out, like what are the builds that we like this week. So it's interesting that Aaron Rodgers, the ownership of the Aaron Rodgers build with Devontae Adams looks like it's pretty favorable. So that could be a really good way to go this week.
I lost everything that I did. Sort ownership. I tried to add a blank crunch, but it opened a different tab for me, like in the browser itself.
Okay.
Oh well, what are you gonna do? Sorting it back over here. So I guess we can sum this up then, because we got to turn this one over to Kyle and Matt. At this point, you're looking at lineups that are within 10 points of your optimal. You're looking at lineups that that are within 10 points of your optimal and relatively low owned. Is there any sort of distinction you would use based on the size of the contest? I think that could be the way that we finish this off. Whether you're seeing, are you looking for a little bit more ownership in a smaller field contest? Are you not really paying attention to it all that much? What is your thought process with regards to ownership and the contest size that you have?
So I think the bigger the field, the farther you can sacrifice some projection for getting a really unique lineup. So you should definitely factor in the size of the field into whatever criteria you're using to pick your lineups here. So if I was entering a higher stakes, higher or smaller field tournament, I might delete more of the lower projected lineups because we only deleted about 62. So I might increase that number, have a pool of higher projected lineups, and then try to pick the lowest owned from that.
All righty. Is there anything else you want to touch on before we get out of here?
No, just thanks everyone for supporting the show. If you're not already subscribed, of course hit the subscribe button, and thanks Fantasy Cruncher. I mean, you can never miss an opportunity for that because all their tools really help me as an MME player really tackle these slates.
That'll do it, guys. Thank you from me. Obviously, you got the thank you already from Alex. Tune in to Matt and Kyle giving you the fantasy start-sit advice immediately after this. Best of luck this weekend. Best of luck to the boss man. Thunderdome's coming up. Going to be a big one. we could touch on that next week after you'll have a few in the books. But thank you guys. Like, subscribe, notification bell. You guys know what to do. We appreciate having you. Best of luck, and we are out of here.